Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Wildlife Photo Chat. We have a special episode for you. I'm here with Brad, as always. How's it going, Brad?
Good, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
I am too. Yeah, it's actually really nice to think back to the workshops and relive some of the amazing moments that we all encountered. It was really nice.
It is, and a really nice bonus here to get to really see and appreciate some of the best photos from some of the people that joined us. I've got to see, like, we've all got to see these online when they shared them, but it's so much nicer seeing them on a big screen. I haven't had to just pinch down on a tiny phone, which is really, really nice.
Exactly.
So today's episode, everybody, thank you so much for joining and watching, but we have 4 different people that joined us on our past workshop for puffins and gannets this year in Newfoundland, and they've been kind enough to come join us, kind enough to share some of their favorite photos, and we're going to hear a little bit about the experience from them. So let's start by I'm going to go down the list here and welcome them all. Thanks so much for joining, Henry. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Henry Doyle is here on the show. Henry, you were the one that I think Brad and I both really enjoyed. You were the one that was hanging off the cliffs the most out there.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely remember that.
Yep.
You were all
like
about
to
it.
push it.
Yeah,
sure.
you definitely do. So we'll definitely come back and hear a little bit more about that. We're going to go on to the next person. Michael Dreese, thank you so much for joining, Michael. How's it going?
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be with you guys again. I was the guy that was definitely not hanging off the cliff.
Yes. Yeah, you stayed back a good bit, did you?
Yeah, I needed my little safety zone there.
Yeah. It didn't bother you too much, though, right? It seemed like you stayed just fine. Like you were still getting great shots, and it didn't really hinder you too much, huh?
No, not really. And as you know, as a matter of fact, once I started really focusing in on getting shots and composing and listening to you guys, my fear of heights kind of receded a little bit. There was the time that you guys coaxed me out there for the long exposure there at Cape St. Mary's. That was a little dicey, though. And if it wouldn't have been for Brad kind of pushing me a little bit and reassuring me, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. So thanks, Brad.
And to clarify, he means a metaphorical pushing. Brad was not physically pushing Michael over to the edge. That is not what we do on this workshop. So we'll hear more about that, Michael. But thanks again for joining. Karen Fitzgerald is also here. Karen, how's it going?
Good, Brad. Good.
Yes, excellent.
Ray and Brad.
Yes, you can say Brad first. I know everybody likes him more anyway. I don't blame him. He's a nice guy.
Yes, you both are.
Yeah. But listen, if you had to vote, I think we're all voting Brad. It's the Canadian, you know?
Right, the newfie.
Well, thanks so much for joining, Karen. You were a blast on the workshop. I love your personality, your attitude, your approach to the whole thing. It seemed like you had a blast there. So I can't wait to hear more about it.
Right. Yeah. I was a little cautious on the cliffs. And then every time I went, I kind of went a little closer.
Yeah.
Once I got used to it.
Yeah, it definitely worked out that way.
I think the fog helped not really see into the bottom.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you couldn't see how far you potentially could have fallen. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
good. And then last but not least, we have Dee Ann Dugger joining the show as well. Dee Ann, welcome.
Thank you. I am very excited to do this. It's a bucket list item for me to be on a podcast with you and Brad.
Oh, nice. That's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, excellent.
Nice.
Well, it's good you got to join this one where it wasn't just me doing the audio one, so you get to actually hang with Brad too. And boy, I feel like I feel like I'm doing like great with the announcer thing here, like moderating the whole thing. I'm like going right down the list and nailing it.
Like a pro.
It's like I've done this before. Anyway, welcome everybody. We're gonna start off the show just by looking at some of everyone's favorite photos. So we asked each one of the guests joining us today to share one of their favorite shots from the trip. We asked them to pick a favorite from the puffins and then also a favorite from the gannet location. And so we're going to start out here with Henry Doyle with this amazing interactive shot. And before we hear from you, Henry, I kind of just want to hear, Brad, what do you think of this image?
I love it. I just the interaction between the two. All the details, like that up close, goofy little look from the bottom one. Just everything about it is such a great shot. It's really well composed. It's really cool. I love it.
Excellent. So
Thank you.
Henry, what is it that drew you to this image? What made you pick this as one of your favorites?
Yeah, so I'm not normally like a tight portrait guy. It's not generally what I go for, but I guess I came into the workshop with the expectation that the puffins would be out on the ocean, on the cliffs, because you guys didn't want to raise our expectations too highly, which is good. But we were very lucky with the amount that would come to land. So I was able to get shots like this at 100. Like this is barely cropped. I think I made it vertical. And I think this was our second day, and they were kind of, it was more of a neutral lighting at first, which was really great for the portraits.
Yeah.
And I just never expected I would get a shot like this. Like I don't even remember taking like the exact moment. That's just how many moments like this happens. But it was just one of those things after the trip. I was looking on the computer. As you guys know, I had way too many images to actually process there on the trip. But once I kind of culled through everything and I found this, I was very excited. And I think this is actually the first one I posted.
Nice.
So
and
I was,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I really like to, sometimes when you do these type portraits, like, and there's two subjects, one will fall out of focus, and the guy on the left is a little bit out, but they're both in enough that you can kind of see both of them. And that beak is almost intersecting with the other beaks. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you definitely nailed the focal plane there. And I was going to ask you, and you kind of answered it already, but like, do you remember this interaction between them? Like, did you notice it in the moment, or is this one of those times where it happens so fast and you're shooting through it, and then it's just like you get to see it later and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I captured that.
Yeah, I don't actually remember specifically like the exact interaction. I do know this was kind of like one of the first times I got a chance to do the type portrait kind of thing. And I'm kind of a burst shooter, so I was probably holding the shutter down and it just kind of happened.
Nice.
So,
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's one other little touch I love about this shot, and it's the case with every puffin photo, is every so often you get to see that little white sliver showing around the eye. And there's something about that to me that just adds like an extra layer of cuteness to them. When you get to like see that they're kind of like looking in a direction, and these guys, and like you said, Brad, like you can see the expression on that one that's like, it feels like the left bird is all about the interaction, and this one maybe not so much. He's like, yo, give me some space, man. So there's kudos to you on this one, Henry, for capturing it and recognizing it and picking it out, because it is just a wonderful behavioral moment. In addition to just like great.
Mention one more thing too. I got a lot of comments of people accusing me that this was AI.
Oh,
like,
fun.
No joke.
Really?
That was kind of weird.
It's a compliment.
Never heard that before. Yeah, I guess, but it was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that is too funny.
Well, and I think the thing is too, like, it's almost got not like a studio lighting, but like just the way the light is kind of, it's like the perfect lighting for these kind of portraits. So I think just maybe the lighting makes it kind of feel a little, I don't know, different, but it's fantastic shot.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, well, great job. All right, so next up, we're going to move over to Michael Dreese. You captured this incredible backlit moment. I think I remember a little bit about, I think if I'm not mistaken, Brad kind of like working everybody into this scene. Do you remember that, Brad? Like working this backlit scene with the wings flapping and them coming into land, or maybe not? You look confused.
Yeah, I think I do, because I think this would have been like a morning, I believe it was one of the morning sessions, maybe a little bit further in, because to me that would have been in like the backlighting. We're using the cliffs that were in the background, or like the the edge of the colony to kind of get that rim light and get that nice glow effect. So yeah, really beautiful shot, and Mike nailed it with the wing position on this one. Really, really nice.
Yeah, so tell us about it, Mike. Why is this one that you picked out? What stood out for you?
Well, it's funny you mentioned about the wing position, Brad, because this is a shot I almost missed, actually.
Oh, really?
I had this, I had the 600 millimeter on at the time, and I was just kind of working with this bird, and I had noticed maybe a few minutes earlier that he had performed like a wing flap. So I jacked my shutter speed. I don't even know what it was anymore. It might have been up to like 3,200.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was in that range somewhere. But anyway, so I was so close to him, though. There's a whole series of these. And when I really liked one, he was one of the images, his wings were all the way spread out to the side. but I was so close I clipped the wings.
Oh,
And so this moment happened, and I was just laying on the shutter, shooting a, pretty good burst. I think it was at 20 frames a second. And, but I'm looking on the back of the viewfinder, and I'm like, if I totally missed this whole, like, if I clipped every shot, I'm going to be so bummed. But here, one of the shots that I did get was this one where it almost to me looks like it's like an angel wing position.
Yeah.
So in a way, I actually preferred this to the one where the wings were all the way to the side.
Nice.
But
that's what we tell ourselves when we clip the wings on all the rest of the shots. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess the reason why I really liked it, I've really grown to appreciate rim lighting, and you can just clearly see the rim light without even kind of looking through the viewfinder. It was pretty apparent that there was this beautiful filtered light coming through. So I just kind of like told myself, just kind of work with one individual at a time and try to get an interesting behavior. So it all just kind of came together, and I don't know if I consciously did this or not, but one of the things I liked too was the foreground. There's a little bit of blur in the background there too. So,
no, you did it consciously. Come on now, let's take the credit.
No, I can't take credit for that. But one of the things I did do though, it's pretty much, I didn't do a lot of editing to this. I think, Ray, you worked with me a little bit on this to darken the background a little bit. I think so. Yeah. I think we bumped up the contrast or something. But the one thing I did do, you can see there's like a green stem there, and there was a flower that was like right across this mid chest area, and so I actually did remove that. Okay. And I think that was a little too distracting. So that's the only thing I really changed on it though, as far as editing goes.
Oh, awesome, man. And I really do love that like absolute head-on pose, like it gives such a fun symmetry. They always look so completely different as far as a bird when you get them head-on. Most birds do, and so there's always something fun to get that, like, and I mean, you are about as dead center head-on as you can get on that, which is really, really cool. Yeah. Nice job, man. Really nice job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Back to another interaction shot here from Karen. Karen, lovely shot. I love that this was in the rain with the raindrops. Like, that adds so much to it. It's something that hopefully everybody can appreciate viewing this. I hope everybody watching is on a largest screen as possible. If not, get to one so you can appreciate all of these beautiful photos. But yeah, another wonderful moment between the two. I really love just like the layering there and the way the birds kind of fit into that out of focus rock in the background as well. Before we hear about this shot from you, Karen, Brad, do you have anything else to add to this one?
Yeah, and I actually really love that the one with the open beak, like, almost looks like he's like about to lick out his tongue or something and grab that little raindrop going by. I actually think I do kind of remember that whole session when that was happening, because we had that little bit of light rain and we were getting everyone over on the edges and trying to use some of the darker background to kind of show a little bit more of that rain coming out. And yeah, I just love when seabirds have all those raindrops and stuff on them. It's just such a nice little added bonus and like little characteristic to them. So yeah, such a great shot. Really, really nice.
So, what made it your favorite, Karen?
Well, I enjoyed this because I like shooting in the rain, because I think I love shooting in the rain and getting wet animals, mammals, birds. And I like the fact that you could actually see a little bit of the raindrops in the background, and on the bird can see the formation of the drops. And I really didn't have to do too much to it, because it was a little dark at the time, and their white chests just stands out, and I like the interaction, and I tend to crop tight. So that's why it was a favorite for me. And at the moment, it was great because it wasn't really raining that it would spoil the whole fun of shooting. It was just a light drizzle, which sometimes it's to shoot in the rain, you get different effects.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And I like, being a retired hygienist, I almost wish that one interacting with the beak open, he'd put his tongue out.
Yeah. That's That's too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah.
But it's a great behavioral interaction again. You know what I mean? And I think, I'm seeing a trend. We'll see another photo in a second here. But it seems like that certainly stood out to a lot of you. And was that something you were really looking for, Karen? Was like trying to look for those interactions?
Yeah. Because my other experience, I was in a blind and I never ever imagined that they would be so close to me.
Yeah.
I was just amazed. I don't even think I cropped this image because I think I shot this. I had a 300 prime, so I was trying to back away.
Yep. Yeah. It's nice to have that problem when things can be too close, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I wish I had something shorter, so I was walking back. I just couldn't. I couldn't believe how close they were.
Yeah. It's so fun. That's awesome. And
it was a real highlight to see them so close.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it, Karen. I'm so glad to hear it. Well, thanks for sharing on that one. And on to another interactive image here from Deianne. Deianne, let's hear from you first on this one. What is it that drew you to this photo? Why is it one of your favorites?
So puffins have always been a favorite bird. And so to experience getting to be so, like she said, so close to them was amazing. I wanted some type portraits. When you're all excited and you're just getting to that colony and seeing them come land so close to you, it's just incredible. So there was a group, I think, of about 4 or 5, and these two were kind of in the middle. I have some other pictures where they're kind of just facing and kind of looking like they're having a conversation. And at one point, they kind of just came closer. I was lucky to get this. I wish the other bird was a little more in focus. Henry, you did a fabulous job with yours. But I just love their gaze. That's why it makes a favorite of mine.
Yeah. Brad, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I just love, there's something very like, not soft, but just
dreamy.
I don't know, like a tender, dreamy moment between the two of them. You get the eye contact from the one that's in focus, but you still see the eye of the one that's out of focus. And I mean, for me, I'm never a stickler person when there's two birds, like to actually have them like got to be perfectly sharp or anything. I think as long as they're detailed enough and you see them, you still get that beautiful like interaction between the two, and allows that one to stand out. I think it's really well composed. Great job, Deianne.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I actually kind of enjoy more that the second bird is out of focus. I think it helps really draw me into the one bird. And it's even like the posing and posturing we're getting here, right? Like this bird is kind of bigger, but like there's almost this feeling of movement that kind of comes down and wraps. Like I follow his gaze right into the other one there. There's a beautiful use of angles between the two birds. And then to add to that dreaminess, that little bit of that touch of foreground blur that makes it feel like you're sitting down in that space with them and looking in and getting that to kind of like witness that just like you were there as the viewer, which is really, really nice. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was probably from a similar moment or time frame as the one we saw from Henry, because the lighting feels the same. We got that same tonality in the water in the background there. So really, really nice. And so, yeah, thanks everybody for sharing. There's each of your favorite puffin photos. And it's so funny, right? Every one of them is interactive except for Mike with the beautiful wings and the backlit there, which I think is great. It says a lot about what stands out to people and what we're looking for in photos and kind of favorites from these encounters. And that behavioral stuff is going to do the trick most of the time. Don't you think, Brad?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it's so funny for me, like for so long with puffins, like I've always been someone that likes like the single bird and highlight that one individual bird, and like seeing all these interaction ones actually makes me go, I need to focus on that a little bit more. I do it a little bit, but I'm like always when there's like a grouping, I'm like, hey, where's the individual bird? Like I'm looking for that one to kind of stand out. But seeing these, I'm like, I need to focus a little more on the interaction stuff.
I do the exact same, dude. Great job. It's like you get the clump of birds. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but it's so why, I think we're so portrait focused that it is a mistake sometimes to be, moving away from these groupings sometimes, because it's going to be these moments in between there to capture. So good job, all of you that did do that. So I'm just going to bring up all the photos so we can enjoy them. We're going to ask a couple of questions from everybody, and I'm going to start with you, Deianne, since we just heard from you. What was one of your just favorite moments from the entire trip?
So I have to, even though the puffins, again, favorite bird, incredible experience, I think I really embraced walking onto that gannet spot, you know, the little point of land that we're at, and just seeing and being in all of this beautiful landscape and the ocean, and we see whales out there and the birds just all around us. It just was a sense of peace for me, like doing something that's my passion and that's all I'm here to do, and I'm in this beautiful place, peaceful. And I think that was amazing for me.
Love it. Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that. That is just, it's one of those things that it's wonderful when you can pause, slow down, and recognize where we're at, whether either colony, right? But just being out on those cliffs and enjoying those moments. So I'm really glad to hear you kind of share that as well. Yeah, let's move on. Henry, how about you? Did you have a favorite moment from the trip?
Yeah, so the second night we were shooting puffins, there was a rainbow. And right before that, there was like the most insane light ever. Like that would have been enough. Like we were all shooting portraits on one end of the colony. And I think Ray, you saw the rainbow and you like yelled like, "Rainbow, like get your wides." So I sprinted to my bag, and I left my teleconverter open face in the rain because I just didn't care because there was a rainbow. I put the wide on and I got in there.
Love it.
So, and then I was just, after that, we were all just on a high, and it was great. So yeah.
We have to give Brad some credit. He kept calling that. I mean, if he did not call that light shining out that night, that was incredible. It was Brad, 2 hours before it happened. You're like, I think something might happen. And I'm just like rolling my eyes. I'm like, sure, Brad. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's my like years of like looking at my window here at the sunsets behind my house going, yeah, I think there's gonna be light, like looking for that little tiny gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember Emily a few times coming up. She's like, are you sure that light's gonna, you think it's still gonna happen? I'm like, oh, it's gonna happen. Get ready. And it's true. Like Henry said, like it's when you get that last, like just couple minutes of light hitting right at like either sunrise or sunset, but like everything else is clouds and above or whatever, but you get that little gap. It's just like the best quality light, and it only lasts a short while. So it's amazing we got to enjoy that and then kind of kick it off at the end with rainbow. So yeah, that was a pretty wild night.
It definitely was. It definitely was. Well, thanks for sharing that experience, Henry. Karen, how about you? What was a favorite moment from the trip?
Oh my God, there's so many moments, but since Henry touched on that beautiful rainbow, I think for me was walking out in the fog to the gannet colony. And once I arrived, hearing the symphony of all those birds, I just felt it was like euphoric. And I've never seen anything like that in my life. So I think that to me reached my inner soul with the sounds and just looking. I kind of stopped. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like I wouldn't even know what to shoot. I just enjoyed it for like 10 minutes before I even did anything. So to me, it was that gannet colony, I would say.
Yeah, it actually gave me chills when you were talking about it. And I think it only can for anybody that's been there and experienced it, because you can kind of really relate. Like you sharing that story really took me back to that moment. And there's something even extra when it's foggy like that, because you don't really get to see it until you're out there, right? You're only maybe hearing stuff off in the distance. And then all of a sudden you walk out there and you start just being able to kind of see the amount of birds that are there, but it's more of that sound and experience. And yeah, it really is special. So yeah, a wonderful moment you picked out for sure. Yeah.
And you know, it's one thing, like when I moved back to Newfoundland my own self in 2010, because I lived away for about 10 years, and first time I ever went was the year that I returned back. And I remember my first time walking out and I had the same feeling. It was just like such an amazing feeling. It didn't even matter whether I got pictures or not. There was just something about that location. I always like envision at some point, I'm like, I'd love to be able to bring a group of people out here and just see their reaction, and to hear both of you say the same kind of thing about that location. Like to me, that almost feels like more of a win than like whether or not you got incredible images, because it just feels so great to have people come and experience these like just incredible locations that Newfoundland have to offer, and just be able to like take that in and take those moments and just feel everything and look around all the amazing birds. And it's an experience just in itself, whether or not you actually come away with incredible images, which you all did, obviously.
Michael, how about you?
Thanks.
Wow, it's so hard to narrow it down to one. I would say the very first evening when we were out with the puffins at the main colony at the Elliston spot. And I remember I didn't even have like a portrait shot yet of a puffin. And I think I had confided in you that I really want to do some wide angle work with the puffins.
Yeah.
And I remember we were only there a little bit. And I think you saw the conditions out there beyond the sea stacks and everything. The sky was starting to really look interesting. And you said, Mike, do you want to do some wide angle? And I was kind of like thinking, I don't know. I really like to get some portraits, but I thought, let's just go for it. And I remember, crawling with you out and we're getting closer and closer to the puffins and just being out there on the edge and seeing them, out into the North Atlantic. And all of a sudden these groups of puffins are coming within a couple of feet of us. And I was just like, in the moment, I thought, wow, does it get any better than this? I'm with my mentor right beside me. And he's giving me instructions on how to shoot, and just the scenery that was unfolding. It was just amazing. It was one of those moments that you kind of have to pinch yourself and say, wow, is this really happening right now? So I almost shared that one image that I got from that session because that was one of my other favorites.
Nice.
As well.
Yeah, no, that is great, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it is a big part, like what you guys all just shared is such a big part of what I know Brad and I really want these experiences to be, these workshops. I decided a couple of years ago that I really wanted to go all in on making every workshop I do an experience separate from the photography. And you all just kind of described that. And Mike, you just shared a part that did tie into the photography as well, which is great. But you also added that just, being that close to things and looking out into the North Atlantic like that. And so I'm so grateful to hear that you all are enjoying those experiences and gaining those experiences from these trips, which is totally our goal. And then also just to tie in what you said, Mike, I do love that experience. There's something so unique and it doesn't matter whether it's on a trip like this, which it does happen often with the seabirds because they're just friendly, but anywhere we're doing bird photography, when a bird comes extra close to you and in your space or, it kind of doesn't show any fear and it's just doing its thing right there. And you get to actually like almost take your eye out of the viewfinder and see them that close. It's such a different experience than seeing them at 500, 600, 800 millimeter through a lens, It's just so special when they're in that close proximity like that. So it totally makes sense that stood out for you.
Yeah, it was really a sense of, like you said, like a intimate feeling being kind of really you're part of the scene there.
Absolutely.
And they're accepting you.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Well, we got a few more images to share. So let's go. Mike, we're going to stick right here with you since we got this one next lined up. What a shot. I mean, the quintessential gannet landing, the most elegant bird turned into the most goofy bird when you do the right pose like this. What is it that made this one of your favorites from that location?
Well, I think it was like the position of the wings and the way the feet were kind of tucked in there like that. There was part of that I was just completely focusing on getting these shots. And I thought I had one a little earlier in the day, and I remember showing it to you on the back of my viewfinder. And it was so funny because this is what I love about you. You said,
I know what's going to happen
that's really
here.
Great, but you know what's going to
But
you said if I'm gonna be nitpicky, I think in that shot I had the bill was intersecting with the wing.
Yes.
And so I'm like, all right, back to the drawing board again. And so then this opportunity just happened. It was at a different location. I think that this one was coming in from all the way out from the like the center looking out.
Yeah.
And the other one was a little closer to the cliff area.
Gotcha.
But this one was just coming into the column head on from that real far distance. And so I was able to actually not really have too much in the background that interfered with it. It was just kind of a nice clear shot, but it just happened so fast. It was just one of those shots that just happened,
Yeah, no, it's
so
wonderful.
everything just kind of came together.
Well, it's got to be great when you actually get to scroll by this on the computer and this comes up on your screen. It's got to be one of those moments where you're like, yes, I got it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Brad, anything you have to add on this one?
Yeah, I love this one. This is, it brings me back to the first few times that I used to go and visit the colony, and when I started to like getting in flights, because like when you first get, there's so many birds like flying in the air that like your brain just kind of like wants to go in flight shots, and seeing all those opportunities. And I always wanted to get that full wing spread with everything. So to see that Mike nailed it like on his like first time ever coming here, and like just everything perfect about it. And I love the feet, because it's something that a lot of them don't really, a lot of people don't realize they have that kind of those lines going down their feet, those stripes. So just like just showing off all the and the green, just showing so much of the characteristics of them. Yeah, just such a great shot.
Absolutely.
Really well done.
Yeah. I love that one. Well, great job, man. Thanks again for sharing yet another one of your favorites with us. All right. Moving on to something, Dan, this is one of the few. There's only a couple we got. You guys did a lot of close-ups, and I won't hold it against you. But thank you, Deianne, for coming in with a shot like this, right up my alley. Well done, right? So we have the central subject. That's one of the hardest things to do in a colony like this, is how do you have one bird be the subject, the star of the show, in the chaos that is tens of thousands of birds. You did that beautifully here. We also get to see I'm assuming dusk, or no, maybe dawn. Probably, was this a morning shot? Do you remember?
I don't think so. I think this was
it evening?
Maybe. It all blurs together. Like, seriously.
I know. That's okay.
Just all blurs together.
Yeah. But in any case, the dawn dusk colors are beautiful. It's such a wonderful time of day. And to also have a flight shot coming in there that you nailed at 30 millimeters, showing off the colony, showing off the space, still having the star of the show. What made this a favorite for you, Deianne?
So you, Ray, made this a favorite of mine, because I went there with the goal to do some more wide angle, had my lens. Did I get it out of my bag many times? No, because everything was so fast, and you want those portraits, and you want to see the birds, and you want to get the close-ups, and I kept forgetting about it. And so at this moment in time, you were doing these shots, and I was looking at them, you were showing me, and I was like, oh, I just got to get this. And yours are amazing with the bird bigger, and I was trying to get the right wing position. I have a lot that like didn't really work, but I was really happy with this one because I feel like I did a pretty good job.
No,
not as
for
good
sure.
as you, but I was so close.
No need to compare.
So
no need to compare. You get your own great shots in your own way, But it is hard, isn't it, Deianne, to like, because these shots are tougher. They're less opportunity for them, right? Because the bird has to be in just the right spot. It's got to be closer than most other times if you're shooting a telephoto lens. And so it feels like in the moment, and I especially get it for you guys when it's your first time there and maybe potentially only time, right? You have a limited opportunity. It's hard to sit down and go, I'm going to go for the really low odd thing here, instead of let me throw the telephoto lens on and just shoot and shoot and shoot, right? It's hard to do that because you're actively sitting there watching potential shots go by, but
and I didn't think I actually got any that I would like, because I'm, just looking quickly on the screen, and I'm like, nope, missed that. Nope, missed that, too far, because it looked too far away. And again, smaller bird. I'm literally going to go out and buy the 10 mil, just so you know, because I want to be able to do these things better. I love those shots of yours that you do with the 10 millimeter. So I've been shopping yesterday. I'm online.
I know Michael has it.
Yeah. But again, I was grateful that I actually got one that I really appreciate, and everybody that's seen it, has appreciated, because I had to get help picking, because I was like, I think this is the one I want to use for the podcast, but everyone's like, yeah, that's a good one. So.
Oh, nice. Brad, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love this shot, and I think it's the great. Like I love the fact that Ray and I are a little bit different. I'm always more about the portraity, tighter stuff. Ray's always pushing and coming up with these amazing, creative ideas for wider kind of things. And I think
you make me blush,
because
Brad.
right. Stop, right?
No, go ahead.
But I think the thing is like these locations are so stunning that to walk away with just all kind of portrait stuff would kind of almost be a shame, like to not have like these wider scenes just for your own self, to look back and appreciate and remember what it actually looked like, kind of thing, if you forget. But this shot is just fantastic. Shows the colony so well. That bird stands out perfectly. Like the clouds were like perfect as well. Nothing's kind of intersecting or distracting. They're just very soft and pleasing, and the colors are great. So yeah, and just hats off for trying the wider things. I know it can certainly be tough and frustrating, but you came away with a great shot.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely agree. And then Karen knocking this one out of the park.
Right.
Like one of the best panning blur gannet shots I've seen. And I have to say, we'll hear from you in a second here, Karen, but I loved the commitment to this. It was like once you were locked in on this, I think that's all Karen did for the rest of the trip. You know, I'm exaggerating, but like you put in the time and effort, and it really showed. Like, I love this one. So Karen, what made this a favorite for you?
Well, I was on assignment with Brad James, and I'm jealous of Deianne because we never saw anything like that beyond the colony.
Yeah, it's
it
true.
was pretty much foggy, but it opened up to the left where those cliffs were. So Brad took me over and he said, "Do you want to try panning?" And I said, "Sure," because I do intentional camera movement for landscape. So I said, sure. So he made, I think I had my 300. I don't know if I had the teleconverter. I'd have to look at my.
Looks like this one's straight 300.
Oh, no.
Just 3.
Okay, I took the teleconverter off. So he told me to put the camera at 1/30th of a second. And he told me that the bird would fly to the left part and it would have to like bank around. I think that was the key.
Yep.
So I don't know. I got addicted. And about 1,600 photos later. No, I'm not kidding. I was addicted because it was so clear. The cliffs were clear. And I had fun doing it. And I was like at the edge and it was a blast. But out of 1,600, I think I got 3.
But look at them. They're so unique, right? So totally worth it.
I know it was. I love the exercise, though. I love to go beyond the box of doing the same thing. So I really enjoyed it. And thanks, Brad, for teaching me this panning technique. But I never put the camera at 1/15th of a second because that was way too slow. He said, "Oh, you can try it at 1:15." I was lucky to get some at 1/30th of a second. But it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, you did a great job, and hats off to you for sticking with it and trying. Because we have other people that kind of like, oh, I wouldn't mind trying. They try it, and within like a few shots or a few minutes, they're like, yeah, this is too hard, or it's not worth kind of that effort. But I'm so glad that you kind of locked in, and I love that kind of area, that cliff. It just creates such beautiful textures in the background to kind of give you that extra sense of motion, and and to get it actually with nesting material as well. Just you absolutely nailed it. So hats off to you. Really well done.
Thanks.
I love the nesting material in there. And this is another great example of just like the previous shot from Deianne, you're taking the gamble, right? You're passing on more guaranteed shots to take the gamble. And it's not easy to do. But the beautiful thing about these places and seabird colonies in general, is why I love doing workshops with them, is you do get the multiple opportunities. You get not just multiple, you get tons of opportunity to keep trying and experimenting with stuff. And so I think it's great. And you all did this in your own way. I feel like everybody that comes to our workshops does it in their own way. But it is nice to just not sit and shoot the same thing over and over and over again. It's like and Brad and I try. We'll come up to me like, I think you got this. Let's see what else we can do, And so great job for all of you for doing that. And back to Mr. Cliffhanger here. Let's wrap it up with the story from Henry here with this one, because I'd love to hear the story on this one, Henry. What made you pick this one, and if you can share a little bit about what it was like capturing it.
Yeah, so I think like everybody at first, I was pretty overwhelmed by just the amount of opportunities there and just the beauty itself. But I think by outing 2, I kind of figured out where I wanted to place myself. So I spent a lot of time down the cliff on the right side. I would go about as low as you could possibly go, I only slipped once, so that, I think Karen saw that.
Yeah, I saw it. I almost had a heart attack.
Yeah. Only slipped once, but I would spend each outing. I probably spent at least an hour down there, if not more. I did some of the gannets flying in that direction, but I really focused on these mirrors, and I really wanted to do some wide stuff, and they were kind of the most consistent thing I found. They would consistently come to this rock. So in this particular shot, I shot this at 70 millimeters. I was on my 24-70. And it was just one of those moments. I was super happy with the composition with just the three. But this guy flew in, and luckily I had my eye on the viewfinder at the time, and I had the right shutter speed, and I got it. And what I really like too is the gannets in the background. Above the colony, there's like a little line of them, which I thought was really cool. And the way the grasses were oriented, it made for a clean shot. There's a couple wide shots I have down there where it's like there's too much dirt, but this one was nice and clean, so I really like that as well.
Yeah, and I love like at least two of them, but especially the one that's closest to the landing bird that's sitting there is looking out towards the incoming bird. Like there's again kind of an interaction there and anticipation of that coming in, and it's just like, dude, you captured what happens out there all the time of like birds sitting there and then another one drops in, then one takes off, and like you're showing the life of the colony in a single shot here. I like that you zeroed in a little bit more, right? 70 mil instead of going 50, 35, 24 and making them really small. And that's something I suffer from a lot, which is like I get concentrated on the wider stuff, the showing off the habitat, but I do it too much because sometimes too much is just that. It's too much. It's too wide. There's too much going on. You can't really zero in. So you got some isolation here. You played with depth of field, but we still get to see the context back there. You nailed it, dude. Absolutely love it. And that little touch of out of focus grass on the bottom left corner, it grounds you to the photo. It makes you feel connected to the ground that the birds are on. It places you there as the viewer.
I was holding on to that grass as well. So
like physically, it was a life holder. Yeah, nice. Yes. Brad, anything you have to add?
I again just like to go, like I said to Karen, just like I love when we have participants that like get so into this one particular idea. They're dedicated to it. They're putting in the time and effort to it. They've got a kind of vision, they're going for and how they want to show off that location and just stick with it and then come away with just like such an incredible shot. I love that you got the bridal murs, 3 of them at that, which is fantastic. And the common in there as well. But yeah, just such a great image. Just shows how much time and effort you put into the composition and the layout, and I think it just encompasses that whole colony just in that one shot. So great job, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great stuff, everybody. We got one more question for each one of you, but real quick, for anybody watching, if you're interested, you can join us. We have a few openings next year, July 16th through 20th, 2026. Just head on over to the website, go to the workshop section. You can't miss it there. And you can find out all the info, or just shoot either me or Brad a message to get in touch and find out more about joining us next year. There's only a handful of spots left, and that's our second grouping. We already sold out the first one, so if you're interested, definitely get in touch. All right, so let's. I'm just going to run through different people again here, but I have one last question for you all before we wrap up the show, and because it's another important part of what Brad and I really love doing, right? Number one, we're trying to make it an experience. Number two, we're trying to make sure you guys get great photos. And then number three, and I would say the great photos thing is probably like, oddly enough, like the lowest on the priority. But we know that's going to happen from the first two, which is let's make this an amazing experience. And then secondarily, let's teach these guys something. So Karen, let's start with you. Is there something that stood out that you learned from this workshop?
Yes, I learned to shoot a little differently. I did do a lot of wide shots at the puffin colony to show the landscape, which I really love. It's hard to pick one photo. And I enjoyed that. And now I'm being more, when I crop, like I said, I tend to crop tight. Now I want to see environment. I mean, sometimes I'll put the environment in there. And I learned to be a little artistic, like using the grasses to get the blur and shoot through rocks and shoot through grasses, and just it kind of touched the artistic side of photography instead of just taking the same old boring close-up shot.
Love it.
Incorporate the landscape, incorporate the beautiful cliffs, the ocean. That's what I learned the most. I loved both of your artistic flair on the workshop. It really taught me a lot and to see things differently.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, we love to hear that. That's awesome. Mike, how about you?
All right. Well, I would say that it was the kind of advanced course on lighting, the quality and direction of light, which really seemed to connect the dots for me in my kind of photographic journey. Because at first, when I, first got into the wildlife photography, it was all about subject, find the subject, shoot the subject, but I never really paid attention to the light too much. And then I started to kind of graduated to looking for interesting backgrounds and then putting a subject in that background. But this was the kind of the final phase. I was always aware of light previously, but I remember a couple times with Brad that he was really explaining to me that the way the light changed the bokeh quite a bit, and just really getting that advanced course and dialing that in. And now from what I learned at that, during that workshop, I'm incorporating that going forward. Like, I'm starting to see those things that I hadn't really noticed before. So I think it really tied things together for me now is to, it's all about finding subject, background, and light and putting them all together. It's kind of like the holy trinity there. Yeah. And you guys both just did an amazing job of really teaching that to us.
I'm really surprised to hear Brad was pushing light hard.
Yeah, I need to learn my own self, actually.
Well, the other part of that too was when we were dialing in the negative exposures for we're working with the birds on the opposite cliff there at Cape St. Mary site. And I remember, I don't know which one of you suggested to me to put the camera in the adjust for ease of viewing setting.
Yes.
It kind of shows you the DSLR view instead of the live view.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, this is a game changer here. I can dial in the negative exposure, but then I can see my composition now.
Awesome.
And the camera kind of focused better too, I thought. So that was also another thing that kind of really was an eye-opener to me. So that was awesome learning that.
Oh, that's so great. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit about like what what he was talking about with the light there? Because I know that's definitely like a big part of what you try and teach on this.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, like, which is a difficult when people are coming to this location, and a lot of people are like, I've never been around a puffin, I've never been around a gannet. So, just like all of us, we get locked in, we get excited. This morning
everything.
I found a species I haven't shot. You're just shooting everything, just any portrait. You don't care about the light. But it's so wonderful to kind of slow people down once they've all experienced and you've kind of had your fill for a couple hours of seeing the birds, to then kind of shift your focus and have you kind of think about how light is bouncing off, even the landscape itself and what it's doing to the foreground, or how it's hitting the bird, or what kind of subtle angles that we can change and positions we can make just to make the light just a little bit better. And that enhances just then our just basic portraits that we're so used to getting. And it's so nice, Mike, to hear that, like now you're taking that forward. So every time you're going out now and you're thinking about light, or you're seeing it. So it's not just like, okay, I want to go find that shorebird or that wader or whatever kind of subject. It's like, hey, what's the light doing? Where's that? And moving yourself to get the nice background and use that light. So it means everything to me. So I appreciate you saying that.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Henry, what stood out to you? Anything you learned from the trip with us?
So I learned so much, and it was so great. I've watched both you and Brad on YouTube and podcast platforms for years, and I've even mentored with Ray online. So just getting to learn from you guys in the field and see how you shoot too, not even direct learning. On top of that, just watching you guys shoot was a huge help. One thing in particular, I've kind of had the eye level thing down for a long time, getting low. But I remember one particular time Brad kind of showed me that sometimes, especially with wider angle compositions, you might actually want to get a little higher. And it really helped my shots, kind of raising that camera and looking down at the ocean maybe versus the sky. And I never really thought of it that way. I was kind of so locked into getting as low as I possibly could.
Yeah.
Just kind of expanding my view. And I think that happened with a lot of different techniques, like just looking at things differently and like styles of shooting I never tried before. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it, man. Yeah, that's what we love to do.
Henry,
push it.
I'll have to give Ray credit on that, because I think the first couple of times I tried doing wide there, Ray's like, you got to get a bit higher, man. The horizon's going through the head. So yeah, I'll pass that one off to Ray.
Pass down knowledge. Yeah.
I did my normal thing, which is somebody shows me a photo they're really happy with. I'm like, yeah, but. And I remember, I think, Michael, you were talking about that earlier with the gannet shot, and I'm pretty sure Emily was standing nearby, and she was like, Ray, would you just let them have it? And I'm like, yeah, but they're here to learn. You know, I try to do it in a nice way, but it's like, to me, it's the kind of thing where, because we have so much opportunity, you know, like, I'm going to say it because, like, you can go and try and resolve that, right, and improve that and grow upon that in the moment right then, instead of like after the fact when we're looking at the photos and it's kind of too late at that moment and at that point, you know. So
For sure.
it all comes from a place of you know, trying to help everybody grow. Because I do genuinely don't want to ever just like shut somebody down when they're like excited, but you got to balance that stuff, you know.
I'm really glad you did that, because that's what led to the shot that I did get, because I was inspired to clean it up and, you know, perfect it. So I'm glad that you did share the feedback.
Yeah, awesome. Brad, you were going to say?
Yeah, and I just want to take a moment just so I don't forget, but I want to thank all of you for being such open students, I'll call you, you know, to be willing to try different things, to not, you know, we can all kind of get locked in our own way of shooting, and you know, we think, okay, well, this is how I want to get. I'm so used to getting these shots, but this is the way I want to shoot. But all of you that were on here were just open to any suggestions we made, wanting to try stuff, you know, switch a lens, move around, get high, get low, try just a bunch of different things to kind of improve your own photography, or just like try a new style. So it's so wonderful to work with people that are just like an open canvas, just like whatever we say, you're willing to try it. And I think anyone going into a workshop, I think no matter how many years of experience you have, you should go in, or what knowledge you have, you should go into it like that. Like you're there to learn from the person that's teaching, and you want to try different styles. So why not? You're there, so why not learn? But I really appreciate that you guys were so open. So.
I did too. I was bummed, Brad. The one time we offered to hold each one of Mike's legs and dangle him down for that perspective, he did say no. But, you know, he was mostly open. Kidding if it's not clear.
Yes.
Henry would have been on board.
We're trying to hold Henry back, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, let's wrap up the show hearing from Deianne. Deianne, I want to hear what maybe something you learned on the trip.
So I went into this very nervous in a way, because I didn't think I would have the skill to match everybody. You know, it was kind of intimidating seeing all the big lenses. I didn't have as big a lens. And so I was worried. And that after that first puffin shoot where I got to look at my photos and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got, you know, I got pictures, and calmed me down, and really let me just relax and enjoy and learn. I have two standouts. I'm going to have to, one for Ray and one for Brad, to be fair. Bokeh. Like, I've been watching the podcast like Henry and enjoying all that for years. And always Brad's pictures with the bokeh and the background and the lights and how he uses all that. I was like, how does he do that? Like, it was amazing to have those shots now that I can look back and see the settings and know what we did. The light on the mother and the chick on the cliff is still one of my favorite photos. I wish I could have put more in this presentation. And the spotlight of the gannet flying along the black cliff. Like, those were incredible. And those were because Brad pointed those out. Hey, let's try this. Let's wait. It took a long time to get those shots of the moving one, not the chick, but, and we only had a window of time for the chick and the mother. That was amazing. And then on the opposite was the long exposure with Ray.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. It's a technique I've used a little bit in the past with ocean. Obviously, I'm in Florida. So it was amazing to kind of see it in a different location. I was petrified that my camera was going over the edge. Like, really, I had a grip on that, and you're like, stop holding it because you're shaking it. I was like, but I was afraid it was going to fall. But the shots that we got with the water, and incredible, like just, and those are some of the favorites. When I show people photos, they all are like that stunning, those long exposure ones. So I learned so much. We could talk about this for hours, what we learned, I'm sure all of us. So amazing time.
Awesome.
And thank you both.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels so great to hear that. So I'm very grateful. Thank you all for coming on here and sharing your photos, sharing your time, sharing your stories. I want to say, well, let me ask you, Brad, anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
No, I'm just happy. I'm just small from ear to ear. Like, it's just so great to hear, that you guys had such a wonderful time, and we had such amazing experiences, incredible encounters, different lighting, just everything we could have wished for. I think Ray and I both have said it to each other, like, these past 2 workshops we've had were our best. Like, we've been there so many times ourselves. I mean, Ray spent like 2 months, but I'm sure out of that, even like 2 months he was here, if he thinks back, I'm sure some of those evenings we had out in mornings were probably the top.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm so great you got to experience that. So, and thanks for coming on and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to say one more thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the first place, and putting your hard-earned money with us. We know it's a big trip. It costs a lot. It means a lot. And so to hear that everybody was really happy, fulfilled, and more importantly for me, learned something that you all get to take on and continue to grow your photography with is awesome to hear. For everybody watching, if you're interested, if some of this sounds like right up your alley, please reach out, get in touch. We'd love to have you out to join us and do all the exact same things. And yes, thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap up the show and say goodbye, and I'll make sure everybody watching, I'll make sure to include links to everybody's Instagrams here. So go follow them. They're great photographers. As you can see, they produce some amazing stuff. Thank you everybody for your time. And Brad and I will see you back on the regular weekly show coming up very shortly. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.